Good morning, Philippines, broadcasting live in Davao City. News with no bias. News with no redemptions. This is 24 hours of breaking news. For the headlines. In local news, an expert shared his insights about the climate change. For another news, government officials shared her ways in mitigating the effects of pollution. Good morning, Philippines! It's Monday, January 30, and I hope you're having a great day here in Davao City. I am Crystal J. Kadayan, your news anchor for today's news, bringing you the top stories that are surely with no bias. For the local news, an expert shared his insight about climate change. Here is Kyla Floresta for the detail.
Change is anthropogenic in nature. Anthropogenic is an activity of human beings that has an impact on human activities on the natural environment. Carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere are rising, which contributes to climate change. Even though there are some natural sources of carbon dioxide, the majority of scientific evidences points to anthropogenic or human-caused factors as the primary source of greenhouse gases that cause rapid climate changes. Human actions that increase greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and raise global temperature are known as anthropogenic sources of climate change. The main activity of the human produces greenhouse gases is the use of fossil fuels in transportation, industry, and agriculture. What is your knowledge on the causes and effects of human activities that contributed to pollution or greenhouse effects?
Since there are many kinds of pollution, and as to what is evident nowadays, air pollution. So basically, many places, including urban and rural areas, both of them, are using crude oils, gasoline, to fuel up some machineries, and also to boost up their produce, let's say for example for farms, factories, and basically it is not just for transportation, diba? So even though it has good effects, it still managed to add up to the problems or the crisis with regards to climate change.
Okay, so what can be done or has been their contribution in or ways in mitigating the effects of pollution?
Me personally, using small ways, like sa water here in our house, faucets, hose na nag-leak, I immediately make sure that we need to fix it up immediately. And also, using fuels, I do not use often my car. If diliin it, or if I'm not nagmamadali, I'm not using it so that I can not just save fuel but also to protect the earth.
Thank you, sir. So the effects of the human activities on land and the sea can have a significant impact of the ecosystem. There are various issues impacting ecosystem, including climate change, ocean acidification, permafrost melting, habitat loss, eutrophication, stormwater runoff, air pollution, pollutants, and invasive species. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas is the main source of carbon dioxide that humans release into the atmosphere. Fossil fuels are burned into automobiles, trucks, trains, and airplanes. So there are a lot of fossil fuels burning like electric power.
Thank you, Kyla. For another news, stay tuned for we will be back after this commercial break.
Pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. These harmful materials are called pollutants. Pollutants can be natural, such as volcanic ash. They can also be created by human activity, such as trash or runoff produced by factories. As Ms. Forresta asked Mr. Christian about his knowledge on the causes and effects of human activities that contributed to pollution, he answered air pollution. which is evident nowadays. As he mentioned, crude oils and gasolines are one of the contributors of air pollution, and even though it has a good benefits like for transportation, there is still negative impact against climate change. He also stated that even in small ways, he tried not to use his car as much as possible to lessen the use of fuel, not just to save the fuel, but also to save the environment. I am glad that he's knowledgeable in this kind of topic, knowing that we're talking about how climate change may affect our lives. Knowledge regarding this phenomenon helps young people to understand and tackle the consequences of global warming, encourages them to change their behavior, and helps them to adapt to what is already a global emergency.
Due to reckless human activities, which contributed in worsening the effects of climate change, the world has greatly suffered. Various species, beautiful sceneries, and many valuable resources are gradually diminishing. Think and reflect. In just our own simple way, by just saving energy and not always using our vehicles to reduce the carbon emission, we could possibly change the world. A world wherein everyone's living sustainably and becoming wiser. So what are we waiting for? Start and act now.
Together we can change the world.
We're back. Time check, it's already 15 minutes past the hour of 9 in the morning. This time check is brought to you by McDonald's. For another news, government officials shared her ways in mitigating the effects of pollution. Here's Carl Domato for the details.
So what is climate change? Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural as through variations in a solar cycle. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change. Primarily due to the burning fossil fuels like oil, and gas. Can I ask your knowledge on the causes and effects of human activities that contributed to the pollution or greenhouse effect?
Okay, good evening to you, Mr. Carl. So, there are many human activities that causes pollution or what we call the greenhouse effect. Nowadays, having a transportation vehicle is one of the essential things in our daily lives. When we were still young, we just make use of the public utility vehicle, that time tricycle, in going to and from our school. But today, not only professionals are driving their car, but also students are being provided by their parents their cars. One example also is the fireworks display. Every time we have celebrations, we start it and end it with the fireworks. We are spending money, or I can say, burning money just to satisfy our eyes with the amazing lights and sounds by these firework displays. These are just few human activities that are producing carbon dioxide, resulting to pollution and global warming.
Thank you for what can be done or has been their contributions in or way in mitigating the effects of pollution.
Okay, since I mentioned activities producing carbon dioxide, the need for massive tree planting or tree growing must be done to increase or to produce more oxygen. There should be also laws enacted or passed regulating the daily use of vehicles to reduce the number of vehicles emitting carbon dioxide. Government or private organizations shall also think of alternatives. Government or private organizations shall also think of other alternatives or other activities other than the firework displays so not to add pollution during conduct of different festivities.
Okay, thank you for participating in the interview, ma'am. That's all. Thank you. Burning fossil fuels generates greenhouse gas emissions that act like blanket wrap around the earth, trapping the sun's heat and raising the temperatures. Example of greenhouse gas emissions that are causing climate change include carbon dioxide and methane. This comes from using gasoline for driving a car or coal for heating a building.
Thank you, Carl. Stay tuned again, for we will be right back after this commercial break.
Climate change is something that is happening as we speak. However, many people is unaware of what is causing it and how it can affect the earth. The greatest threat to human, it can affect our health due to changing of temperature and weather, and also the continuously rising of the level of the carbon dioxide, which causes the ranging heat of the temperature that is quite possible effect of climate change. I agree that fireworks is one of the causes of air pollution, as it is an extremely reactive to greenhouse gas molecule that can attack and irritate our lungs. So, also the vehicle, it can emit carbon dioxide and also contain greenhouse gases that can cause climate change. It's really important to have a platform like tree planting, as the trees helps to stop the climate change by removing carbon dioxide from the air, storing carbon in the trees and soil, and also releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. It also provides many benefits to us every day by offering cooling shade, block cold winter winds, attract birds and wildlife, and purify our airs, prevent soil erosion, clean our water, and add grace and beauty to our homes and communities.
We're back! So climate change can affect everyone on the planet, not just those who are directly impacted by its effects. I believe that climate change is a very urgent issue, as we must do what we can to fight it. We cannot ignore the danger of global warming, and this should be addressed through a collective effort to reduce emissions and mitigate the effects of climate change. It's time to take back our planet from the clutches of toxic chemicals, big agriculture, and big industry. As the world's population grows, we all need to cut back on our carbon emissions. Find out how you can reduce your impact on climate change and how anyone can take action today. Once again, I am Crystal J. Gadayan, your news anchor for today's news. All together, we can change the world, work hand in hand to have a better place to live in, because we believe that our micro effort makes a macro effect. That friendly reminder is brought to you by 24 hours of breaking news.